Hello. Hope you're all doing well. Heard a joke from my daughter again this morning. What did the right eye say to the left eye? Between you and me, something smells. Get it? It's your nose. It's funny. Kind of funny. Results from yesterday. U2 still haven't found what I'm looking for versus Hotel California. 67% chose Hotel California. Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones versus Blowin' in the Wind. 72% chose Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind. Would you eat a stick of butter for $100? 56% of you said yes, you would. That was my gut reaction too, but I was thinking, I don't know if I could do it. I think I would try. I'm not sure I'd get through it. I saw someone in college try it once, and he got about 3/4 of the way through, and they threw up. He said that every time he took a bite, it would like melt in his mouth a little bit, and then it would drain back to it makes me want to gag just thinking about it. Lose Yourself by Eminem versus How You Remind Me by Nickelback. 53% chose Eminem, so Mom Spaghetti is moving on. And Moves Like Jagger versus All-Star. 56 of you chose Hey Now, You're an All-Star, so that's moving on. So today is kind of the opposite of yesterday's, whereas 3 of the 4 artists you're going to listen to today are a little bit you might not be very familiar with them, and so you might hear some new stuff today. I'm excited about that. The first song is someone you have heard of. It's Elvis Presley's Hound Dog versus Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son. So beginning with Hound Dog, this was actually not Elvis's song. He didn't write most of his music. We talked about that a couple days ago. This was written by 2 guys. We'll call them Jerry and Mike. We'll call them that because it's their names. And so these were in 1952, these are 2 white guys that wrote this song for an African-American female R&B singer named Big Mama Thornton. And it was a huge smash for her. And then another group, Freddie Bell and the Bellboys, took it, changed it up, made it a little more upbeat, kind of like the version we know. And then Elvis heard that version and then took it and made it an enormous hit. This is the song in which he told the world, like it or not, rock and roll is here to stay. So this song was released as a single with another song, Don't Be Cruel. It was on the other side of the record. And it's the only single to have both sides reach #1 in the U.S. And it was there for 11 weeks. That's a long time. That record was not broken until 1992. I was like 10 then. It was broken by a group named Boyz II Men. They rock. I like that group. And so I gave you 2 YouTube links to click on here. The first one is Elvis performing live. I don't think there's a live audience here because there's not women screaming their minds off, but you really get a feel for his kind of dance moves in this one. A lot of hip shaking and stuff like that. Really fun performance. And then the second one is the Big Mama Thornton version. And so I want you to hear kind of how it started, so you can hear the progression of this to the song that we know today. But the more I read about this Big Mama Thornton, I like her a lot. I like her performance a lot. But for example, she so these 2 white guys wrote a song for her as an African-American female rhythm and blues singer. She sang it for them, and then they said, well, why don't you do this differently? Why don't you try this? And she said, ain't no white boy's gonna tell me how to sing the blues. I like that. That's a really interesting story here. So we got Jerry and Mike, the guys that wrote it. Mike, after he wrote the song, he got married and went to Europe, and he returning on one of those ocean liners. It rammed into another ship and it sank. And Mike and his new wife abandoned ship in a lifeboat and were rescued. A lot of people were not rescued. They did. And when he arrived back in New York, the guy that he wrote the song with hugged him and said, hey, we've got a smash hit with Hound Dog. And so Mike said, Big Mama's record? And he said, no, some white guy named Elvis Presley. And then Mike said, I heard the record and I was so disappointed. It sounded so terribly nervous, too fast, too white. But you know, after it sold 7 or 8 million records, it started to sound better. Money'll do that to you, I guess. So check that out. And then Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR's Fortunate Son. This is basically a kind of during the Vietnam time of the 60s. The song is a blast at rich folks who plan wars and then draft poor people to fight them. That's what he said about it, John Fogerty. And he said he wrote it out of disgust at the fancy wedding plans of President Richard Nixon's daughter. He said, you just had the feeling that none of these people were going to be too involved with this war. Very politically charged song. And two guys in the band, John Fogerty and Doug Clifford, were enlisted in the Army to avoid being drafted and shipped off to Vietnam. And they did their military commitments, and then this song, they said, speaks more to the unfairness of class than war itself. This song spoke out against the war in Vietnam, but it was supportive of the soldiers fighting there. The song is sung from the perspective of one of these men who ends up fighting because he is not a senator's son. You'll hear that lyric in there a number of times. So just ignore the cheesiness of the live video there. It's still a great performance. Just some of the camera work is, I don't know, questionable. And then the other matchup today, this one is very interesting. Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry versus The Clash singing London Calling. This is an interesting one. I'm curious. So, No Woman, No Cry. Bob Marley. You hear the name Bob Marley and you think certain things. Jamaica and reggae music and his singing style and the cool accent and all that stuff. And this is one of his most beloved songs, one of his most famous songs. The original title was No Woman, No Cry, and N is Jamaican for don't. So it's basically saying, no woman, don't cry. He's leaving, your man, he's leaving. But this is reassuring her that the slum they live in won't get her down and that everything will be all right. And so don't shed no tear. This was Bob Marley's first big hit. He released a live album in 1975. After he had a really successful tour, because his first tour outside of Jamaica did not go well. The world was not ready for reggae. But this second tour sold out crowds. And you might have never seen Bob Marley perform before. And the very first lyrics, he talks about the government yard in Trenchtown. It refers to the Jamaican Public Housing Project where Bob Marley lived in the 50s. Not the easiest upbringing for this man. Really interesting, but yeah, true to the reggae form. Very free, very emotional. Just fun to watch. And that's going against The Clash singing London Calling. You might have never heard this song before. And I'll be honest with you, I never used to like this song, and then I learned what it's all about and everything, and I think it's quite interesting. I'm just going to read some stuff for you here because I think it's really kind of cool. So The Clash is the band name, and when they recorded this, so The Clash is a British punk rock band, and this is, they're a political band, controversial, and this was written at a tough time for them. They were without management, they were sinking in debt, and around them, Britain was suffocating in crisis, soaring unemployment, racial conflict, widespread drug use, and here's what the lead singer, Joe Strummer, said. We felt that we were struggling, about to slip down a slope or something, grasping with our fingernails, and there was no one there to help us. And so they channeled this worry into a song that sounded like The Clash marching into battle. That's what made me like this song now, as listening to it with that battle march kind of, with the driving rhythm and the guitars, because there's not a whole lot of punk rock on this list. So, and then here's what it says about the song. This is an apocalyptic song detailing the many ways the world could end. including the coming of an ice age, starvation, and war. It was the song that best defined the Clash, who were known for lashing out against injustice and rebelling against the establishment. That's punk rock at its finest. And very interesting, at the end of the song, a series of beeps spells out SOS, help, in Morse code, implying that the disaster has struck and they are calling for help. So, yeah, enjoy that. Some new tunes for you. And then the newer songs you'll be listening to today. Despacito versus We Are Young by Fun. And then Katy Perry's Firework versus John Legend's All of Me. I didn't listen to Despacito a whole lot, but the other three, Fun, Katy Perry, and John Legend, those people can sing. Holy moly. And I'm sure the Despacito guy can too. I just didn't listen. I'm not overly familiar with that song. But there's a live version of We Are Young and All of Me. I clicked on the All of Me one. I was just going to listen to 30 seconds of it, and I just couldn't stop listening to it. He's so good. When he hops up into the head voice with that descending All of Me line, oh my goodness. So I encourage you to take a listen to that. I guess I'll give you a word of the day today. I'm reading this book here, and I'm just going to pick a word. It's going to be, that's a weird one. Depressed. I don't like that one. Let's do something. There you go. The word of the day is something. Something. Spelling counts. Something. Something, something, something. Something, something. So I hope you have a fabulous day. I hope you're hanging in there. Please, again, reach out if you need anything, or if you just need someone to chat with or something. We can Zoom and catch up for a little bit. And yeah, but hope you're doing well. Love you, kids. Have a great day.